What's up, Riftbound gamers? I'm back again with some more VOD reviews. This time I'm going to actually review a multitude set of best of threes, just because I want to get through them a little faster than I used to, and just get them all done in one go. And yeah, let's jump right in. Our first one, this is from the last week's Thursday night fights. I have a VOD against Master Yi, and I am playing Kaisa. And funny enough, this is actually someone I met at the TFT Macau event last year, and we somehow faced each other in round one. And so looking at my starting hand, we got Falling Star, Yordle, and the Cleave. Cleave is pretty good against Master Yi. It's great on Dreaming Tree, and I believe I am going second. I think I lose the coin flip. So I probably keep the Yordle here, unless for some reason I'm going first. It looks like my opponent started Valma's Lair, so that's kind of hinting at the fact that I'm not playing against Aurora. It's probably more of a traditional ramp Yi. So I think the correct play is, I mean, this hand is honestly not bad. I might as well just keep it because Falling Star is great against their early drops. It's great when Yi comes out and if my opponent has nothing to defend their Yi, it's worth keeping. So let's see what I mulligan out. I actually mulligan out a Falling Star and a Cleave here. I'm not sure what I'm looking for. I'm probably, unless I'm going second. No, I'm definitely going second because I keep the Yordle. Otherwise, I would have gotten rid of the Yordle. I grab a Hopeful and a Watcher, both which are pretty good in general. The Watcher won't be used until later, but that is fine. It will come up and provide a lot of value in this matchup. So yeah, it does look like I am going second. My opponent plays a defense Poro. I don't even know, it's Stalwart Poro. And then I start off with 3. There really isn't any play other than just play the Yordle, get max runes value. And then back to my opponent's turn. I draw into the retreat. My opponent sends the Stalwart Poro to Valma's Lair, probably to try to bait me to come over it and then get a unit stuck there. But I don't think I'll fall for that. They spent all 4 on Chiana, and they are tapped out. So here, there's a good way. Like I could spend 3 runes to kill off the Chiana, and my opponent can do nothing. So they actually do deramp with that. They'll go to 5 runes next turn, which isn't enough to play Master Yi, and doesn't really let them play anything else that Yi would run. So I'm feeling like it might even be worth to just Falling Star the Kiana here. And let's see what I do, because I could Falling Star the Kiana, I could play the Hopeful, send the Yordle to Dreaming Tree, and then yeah, I mean, what else is there to do? I could go wide this turn, but I mean, I could also send my units into the left and then, reinforce it so Kiana can't just come in for a free conquer. But that does rely on my opponent not having any buff spells in their hand the next turn to go over my units. So we do send the Yordle in, and I actually don't Falling Star the Kiana, which makes sense. I instead decide to develop. I play Student in base, and it looks like I'm struggling placing the Hopeful, and I think I do end up playing it in base. Okay, interesting. That is a choice. Because here's the thing. If I put the Hopeful and the Student in Dreaming Tree, my opponent, the only way they can go over this is they would need at least 2 disciplines and an on guard, perhaps, which is not super likely. The other way they could clear it is maybe with like a charm, bring my Hopeful over to Valmaz, and then try to, I guess, or another way they could get a really good trade is if they Primal Strength, and they also get the Dreaming Tree draw. But I think the reasoning for leaving the Yordle by itself is I could get some Dreaming Tree value with the retreat, and I channel a rune, I draw a card, I get a sentry, and I guess I'm ramping up faster than Yi is ramping up because they deramp with Chiana, and they decide to opt to draw a card. I don't really know if they should be drawing a card here because they have a lot of cards in hand, and I feel like they need the runes. They actually decide to play a charm here, charming in my Hopeful into, I guess it doesn't really matter, it goes anywhere and it will die. That is pretty good for me because they just deramped 1, which means the Dead Bloom Predator will take a lot longer to come out. Same with the Master Yi. And they only killed off one of my 2-drops. So that is actually, I feel like that is a potential misplay on my opponent's side. And you want to really save that charm for something like a Darius or a Kaisa, something that is is a little bit more valuable than two might or two runes. And then so they buff up the Kiana here. Kiana, sorry, I am alternating. And back to my turn. My opponent has 2 up, so I have to play around a discipline. And I mean, it's really hard for me to go over any of these units unless I commit like a falling star. Kiana is at 5 with the buff and potentially at 7, so the falling star could also just not kill it. I decide to opt in to play Yordle just to dig around, see what I get. I get another. I draw into a hopeful, and I think I just opt to go wide here because it's fine. My opponent doesn't is really behind on runes, and they have 2 up. If I decide to go in, they're just gonna get disciplined, and I'm just gonna lose a unit for free. So I'd rather go wide, try to go for, because I have 2 watchers in hand, I want to go in for a big push with all my units next. And my opponent can't stack units. They have to keep 1 on the field. And yeah, so they go to 6, which is really awkward for them because they can't play any of their bigger guys. They have to play a find your center to ramp up a bit and draw. And then they hide a card. So at this point, I'm like, okay, it's probably Zanya's. I doubt it is like a Packet Club or something. And I mean, they still have 3 up, which means that they could do a lot of shenanigans, especially discipline on guard. And right now, I have quite a few runes. I have 10. Is that 10? Yeah, I think I mean, there's so many plays here. I can play Cleave, I can play Watcher, Falling Star. I think like a good way to utilize this turn, like without knowing, I don't even remember what I did, but I think I would just play the Watcher unaccelerated, Falling Star, some units on the side like the Poro and the Pit Rookie, and then go in with a Cleave onto the Kiana. And so I think that might be what I do. Oh, do I accelerate it? No way. I do accelerate it. I mean, accelerating it is fine because it's, let's see. Why do I accelerate it? Do I send it in? I guess I do send it in because if I go in with a Watcher, it's 7, and at most my opponent goes up to like maybe 4 on each side. So it's just a little too big for my opponent. So let's see. We send the Watcher by itself to Dreaming Tree. This is safe because if my opponent decides to buff up their Kiana, they have to buff it up to, right now the Kiana goes to 4. They have to give it +4 might, and that would use up all their runes, and that allows me to cleave over it and get cleave value. So they instead just flip the Zanyas, bring the Kiana back. I go at the point. I don't have to cleave. And then with the last 2, I actually opt for a Falling Star on both the Poro and the Pit Rookie. So the Falling Star here makes sense because, do I Falling Star on the Poro and the Pit Rookie, or do I also Falling Star on the Kiana? I think I might Falling Star on the Poro and Pit Rookie because it's hard for my opponent to save them unless they commit double pump on just 1. So I Falling Star, and my opponent plays a Discipline on what? On his Kiana? Is that what happens? I guess that makes sense. I don't know if this is correct. I feel like it's Falling Star on Pit Rookie and Poro. Yeah, is that a misplay? I think I Falling Starred the Kiana. Yeah, no, that's definitely a misplay. Because Kiana goes, why did I Falling Star on the Kiana? Because I need to burn a rune. Did I not pay for this? Did I cheat? Okay, anyway. I actually don't remember what happened there. So I go into the right, and I feel like even if I was 1 rune down, I don't think this game changes that much because I go to the right, I send all my units to kill the Poro, I trades, I leave the Hopeful there, I leave the Yordle in base. Do I leave it? I'm pretty sure I send it. I send it to Dreaming Tree because if my opponent's at 6, if they go to 8, they could Dead Bloom in, and the Dead Bloom would get a free trade on my my Watcher. But right now, if they send Dead Bloom, it would actually die and only be able to kill off the Yordle. And yeah, so I think that's what I do here. I think they could play Yi and go in. And they would have to Yi and Discipline, or Yi and On Guard, and that still does not go through 9 Might. So instead they play White Flame Protector, which is another potential option, and that does clear out both my guys. I guess the issue here is I could either play around White Flame or I can play around Dead Bloom. I was playing around Dead Bloom because I feel like it's potentially more likely. So I get cleared off on the left, and then we go back to my turn. And what do we have? We have Watcher. We send Watcher in. It should, like, my opponent's tapped out, so Watcher goes in for free. And then I keep one up for Stupefy. And then White Flame comes in. I Stupefy it. My opponent on guards. And damn, I guess that extra rune that I probably should have recycled came into use, but it's not like my opponent still had something, so they had the on guard. They kept it up for a while, and I think this is looking dicey for me. I don't even know if I win this. I think pretty sure I lose this, even though I forgot to recycle the rune. So I think I played the Yordle, and then I have nothing in hand. So we go to game 2. I think the mistake here was not. The mistake in this game was not using the Falling Star on the Pit Rookie and the Poro. Because if I Falling Star the Pit Rookie and the Poro, my opponent can't save it with, I guess, they probably won't save it with Discipline plus on guard. I'm not sure, actually. They might. But yeah, this is hard because they could technically save the Poro with Discipline on guard, and then the Poro would go to, it'd have 5 health and 3 damage on it, and if I go in, I have to do 4 health worth of damage. But it's fine. I can just send in my Hopeful. It trades. I send in, I guess, like the Yordle, and I get the Conquer. And then I would still have a Raven Bloom in base after all that. So I think, yeah, I would have an extra 2 Might in base. And I think I still get White Flamed here. But because I did that play, I get an extra student. So I can actually go in with Cleave. If I cleave into Chiana, is that enough? Let's say I have student. I go in with Cleave. It goes to 6. I Stupefy the Kiana. It goes to 7. And then Kiana goes down. Yeah, and my opponent's tapped out. So my student would go over the Kiana here. If I didn't do the other thing. And I could potentially draw more with the Cleave. And then, what would I have drawn? Probably a Sentry and a Hextech Ray. Yeah, I think it would have made a small difference. I don't know if it would have saved me the game, but I think if I just hit the targets a little bit more smarter instead of the Kiana there. I think hitting the Kiana is still fine because the thing is, I feel like I know my opponent has the buff spells, and because I hit the Kiana, like, it basically means that any one buff spell saves it. If I hit the other ones, they have to use 2. So yeah, no, I think that was my misplay. So game 2, I think I side in some smoke screens. I go Arena's Greatest. We go for a fast game. My opponent plays the Obelisk of Power, so we start off with an extra rune. I have Time Warp, Hopeful, Sentry, Darius. I have the Sentry, which is the good turn 1. And then I feel like I need to get rid of, like, Hopeful, because it's not, like, super good against Yi. And then maybe the Time Warp if I'm playing a fast game. And I think that, yeah, that's what I do. I keep the guy in Darius. Technically, I could keep the Time Warp just because we have the extra rune, but it doesn't really make that big of a difference. I start at 3. I draw into a Yordle, and then I play the Yordle, draw into a Sentry. My opponent starts at 4. They play the Kiana, and they deramp 1. I believe I definitely send in the Yordle here. I go to 2. My next play is probably just play a sentry in a hopeful, or not really. I don't think I do that. Is it ever right to just play Darius? If I play Darius, I'm at a threat of charm. So I feel like it's just go wide with hopeful and sentry. And okay, and I this time I decided to actually stack correctly on one side. So Kiana cannot just go in and easily take it. They'll need 2 buff spells. And I do have the Stupefy, so even if they have 2 buff spells, I will be able to trade evenly. And I will draw a card, 2 cards from Sentry and Stupefy. And that is not the worst. So they go to the other side. Fair enough. They want the Conquer. And I think they draw another card. I feel like they should be ramping here. And then they play the Poro. They hide a card, probably Zanya's. And then we go to 7. And then what do we do here? We tap 1 to Stupefy Kiana. Well, why am I stupefying Kiana? Probably to play Darius, I guess. I draw into a Hextech Ray. And at this point, I could just Ray the Kiana. What do I do? I still send the Darius because I don't really want to play double. Because I have to pay 2 power, deflect, and the power cost. So I send Darius in. I keep the Ray up because it can actually be a good way to defend my battlefields. So I send the... Do I send the Darius? So Kiana is at 3. It could go to 5. If my opponent has any buff, it goes to 7. And then it trades with my Darius. And their Kiana revives due to the thing, which allows them to conquer again with Kiana. So I think what I do is I actually pass. Do I pass? Yeah, I pass here. Smart. Pass me, did a smart play. Leave Darius in base. My opponent still is going to struggle going on the left because they can't bring out Master Yi. They can't play Dead Bloom or White Flame. So right now, they don't have that many options. So they play a Clockwork Keeper. They actually opt into Recycle and Draw. And they have nothing, so they pass it back to me. They have 4 up. So I know they definitely have the buff spells. And I go to 4. So I'm a little bit ahead in tempo, which is great here. And now I need to find a way to not... I guess the thing is, I don't really need this 5th point. Like, I could just let my opponent hold the 4 up and then go in later. But what I do is I play a Watcher. I play it in base. This brings Kiana down to 1. And now if I go in, it goes to 3. And then let's suppose Kiana gets buffed up to like a crazy amount. What can it get buffed up to? It could go to 3. It could go to 5. It could still go to 7. Why am I going in with Darius here? I mean, I'm just going in with Darius. My opponent plays the Discipline. Okay, so it goes to 5. And then they play the On Guard. And then now I'm forced to Hextech Ray the Kiana. Wait, what happened here? Did it get defied? Oh, it got defied. And then, so my Darius just dies for free? What happened here? Why did I do that? What? Okay, well, anyway, the good thing is I got rid of the defy, which deramps my opponent down to 4. So they go to 6. They still can't play the White Flame or the Dead Bloom. That Darius play was a little suspicious. I don't know if that was correct. I mean, I really wanted to take advantage of the Watcher, but I don't know if it was right. I think, yeah. I don't know. That was weird. And then my opponent plays another Clockwork Keeper, deramps him again. They flip the Zanyas, they pull Kiana back. And now we're at 5. I think interestingly enough, yeah, I did not have to go in with Darius there. I could have just let my opponent keep up all 5. Because, let's see, if we're here, they go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They go to 7, which is just enough to play Yi and Feyfolk, which is fine. I could just play the Watcher and leave it in base, and then make my opponent waste 4 runes, essentially. And then next turn, they play the... Well, they move everything back. That's fine, I guess. I guess they know they can't defend it. So at this point, I just get a free point, right? Like I send in Watcher, I go to 6. I probably want to pull everything back on the other side because if a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if like a Primal Rage comes out, I won't be able to defend that. I don't even know if Primal Rage is realistic. And then I play everything in base, and I leave the Watcher. Yeah, I go super wide here. I leave the Watcher there because I know I have the smoke screen, and I just baited out a Defy, so another Defy is less than likely. And next turn, if my opponent cannot get rid of this Watcher, I can go in with a big push with my next second Watcher. And I think they scoop it up this game because they kind of know they cannot defend another push. We go to game 3. I start off with Student and Sentry and Ray and Cleave. I know I'm going second here. So I think it's probably just get rid of the Sentry and maybe the Cleave. The Cleave is kind of good with the Student. The thing is, I could play Student and then hold one for Ray, which is really nice. And then, yeah, I get rid of the Sentry and the Cleave. Honestly, Cleave is good, but I think I want better spells to use. It's better if I have Dreaming Tree up, and then I draw into a Falling Star and Cleave, which is pretty good, honestly. And then my opponent starts off with a Poro. I start out with a Student. I keep one up for my Ray. And my opponent plays a Kiana. I think that is a mistake because now they're tapped out, and then they don't go in, which is, I guess that's why they play the Kiana. They just don't go in, and therefore I do not get to Hexray them. But I feel like, I don't know, as you do want to go in and bait out the Hexray. Because if I don't have the Hexray here, my opponent can get a really strong hold. And I don't know what, I guess it depends. If they think I have the Hexray, then it makes sense not to go in. But I'll still have the Hexray up for a future turn, so yeah, that is interesting. So on my turn, I think I just, what do? I send the Student to Reavers, play Kaisa in base, hold one up. I feel like that's what I do, right? Ooh, send it to Grove. Why would I do that? I guess the reasoning here is I could defend Grove potentially, and then if I go into Reavers, it's harder to defend. If I send Student to Grove, it forces my Kiana to my opponent's Kiana to come to Grove because that's the only thing that goes over it. Whereas Poro is would need some buff spells, so I do bait the Kiana over here. And do I even Hextech Ray it? I don't even think I do. Huh? Okay. What? We just let it go? Okay, so my opponent goes to 2. Is this really worth? I guess the thing is, if I Hextech Ray the Kiana, it goes down to 1 health. My Student goes up to 3. So my opponent would have to hit it twice. Buff it twice. No, they would have to buff it twice to save it. But the issue is I would deramp 1, and next turn I'd go to 6, which is still fine for Darius Cleo. I don't know. I feel like I should be Hex-Raying this Kiana here. But I guess the alternative is I can save the Hex-Ray for the Poro going in. But if they have buff, like, yeah. Okay, so we lose the Student. The guy goes in with Poro. I do Hex-Ray it. Is it saved? It gets defied. Okay, so maybe it's good I didn't hit the Kiana with a Hex-Ray. And then that deramps my opponent. They play a Clockwork. They deramp again. Ooh, there's a lot of deramp. They're at 4. They go to 6. Not enough to play Yi. And my Kaisa is at... So I guess right now I just need to at least clear the Kiana off of Godwills because I don't want that to snowball out of control. So I think I hit it with a Stupefy. I pay the Deflect with my Kaisa. I draw into another Stupefy. I send I think Darius is pretty safe to send in, mainly because I can save the Falling Star for the other two units. So if I bait out all the spells on the Kiana, I can at least Falling Star the other two. My opponent does go to 5, and I think they have one. They hit an On Guard, which brings them to 7. But that's fine because I do have the Cleave, which easily goes over the On Guard and brings my Darius to a 10. And they even like a second On Guard wouldn't save them. And the only way they could have fixed this was with Defy, which they used earlier. What did they defy earlier again? They defy the Hextech Ray. Yeah, I don't think you ever want to defy a Hextech Ray. And then yeah, so my Darius goes in, cleaves over. I get the God Willow, thank goodness. I cannot let that Kiana stay there. And then unfortunately, I cannot get the Poro off, but that is fine. I still have the Falling Star for next turn. I just leave Kaisa in base. There's no reason sending it in because my opponent can't really accelerate any units into my Darius, so I can just leave it there. And then next turn I can get a Conquer with Kaisa, draw a card. So they tap all and they try to play the Feyfolk, and then I remind them that Feyfolk is 7. And then they do play the Catalyst. They ramp up, and then my Darius, lucky me, I get to draw with Godwill, and I think this game just snowballs out of control on my end just because I got the hold. And then obviously I can Falling Star those two. My opponent's out of pump spells. I go in with Kaisa. I draw another card. And I basically try to play as many units as I can. I still keep up quite a few in case my opponent tries to play something. And I actually decide to send the Darius back into Reavers because right now my opponent is at 8. They can go to, what is it, 10? And then they could play a Dead Bloom. But right now, if they send a Dead Bloom to Reavers, I have more than enough. So they would need Dead Bloom plus 1 spell to buff it up. And lucky for me, I do have the Smoke Screen. So if they send a Dead Bloom there, I can actually kill it pretty easily. So I think they play the Zanyas. They send the Dead Bloom. And lucky for me, I'm on Reavers, so I can actually send that back 1 unit before smoke screening the Dead Bloom, which triggers the Zanyas, moves it back. And I wonder if I should. I mean, I move back the Kaisa, which is great because I can get the Conqueror next turn. So next turn I ready out. I go to 5. I don't even try to go for the Conqueror because I know that the Dead Bloom's just going to kill my Kaisa after. I think I need every bit of might that I can hold. I send the Sentry to Godwillow. I go to 6. I get the Poro. I just play it. And then now what? I mean, at this point, I just pass, right? Like, next turn, I just go in with a big Watcher play and try to end the game. And then I think my opponent at this point needs to somehow have, like, double Charm or something. Like, go in with the Dead Bloom, double Charm. But then next turn, I could potentially send out my Watcher and the Poro and still be able to. Watcher does trade into Dead Bloom, which sucks, but I could Watcher. Yeah, I'm not actually sure. So what even happens here? So they play their Feyfolk accelerated. They knock out my Darius, but does it really knock out my Darius? Because right now the Feyfolk, if it's at an 8, it could be kind of tricky. I actually decide to trade with the Feyfolk, which is honestly fine. Is it fine? Because Darius would have had to go over the Feyfolk next turn. Feyfolk is at, it would go to 8 on defense, and then Darius would need at least a cleave. So I think it's fine to trade with the Feyfolk here and leave a battlefield open, because now my Kaisa can go in for a free Conquer. So my opponent sends the Dead Bloom to the right, kills my Sentry. I go to my turn. I probably send in Kaisa to the. Actually, I don't even need to send Kaisa to the left. I can send the Poro to the left, and then I think Watcher plus Kaisa is enough might to go over this Dead Bloom. Yeah, I think I send. Yeah, I send these two. My opponent's Dead Bloom goes to 7 to 11, and that is game. So that is my Master Yi run, or my Master E match. Let's pull up the next one. So here is my match against a Volibear. Very fun. I've actually been testing my volley deck against myself, and I've been struggling against Kaisa, to be honest. So I think at the beginning of this match, I was like, okay, I actually kind of want to see you beat me because I want to see how to beat Kaisa as Volibear. So I guess I probably get rid of the cleave and the Hextech Ray because as volley, you kind of want to go wide as much as you can and just try to get a bunch of units on board to push in with the final Watcher. And oh no, wait, this isn't right. This isn't right. Why do I get rid of the Powdy Poro? Okay. Seems like I didn't learn a single thing from my practice games against myself. And okay, no, I do learn. I do keep the Pouty Poro, and I believe my opponent wins the coin flip, so they get to go first. And this is where I learned that you actually going first as Volibear. I mean, I kind of know about this, but going first as Volibear is kind of good, even if you just pass, just because it puts your opponent behind one turn. And so I start off at 3. I play the Yordle. My opponent plays a Catalyst on their turn. Pretty good. They're ramping close to that Aurora. And let's see, what do we have here? We send the Yordle. We try to send it into, I guess it's either Aspirants or Dreaming Tree. Probably want to save Dreaming Tree for my Kaisa if possible. And my opponent does nothing, so I go to 1. I go wide. I play the Poro and the Hopeful. This is good. And then my opponent plays another Catalyst and a Falling Star because they have so many runes. So they can afford the Falling Star. They kill my Yordle and my Poro, so they have to pay Deflect. But that's fine because they're still at 7. They can play Aurora next turn. And I have 1 point. And because they Catalysted twice and Falling Star, I am kind of behind. They don't have a lot of cards though, so that is my only hope here, that they don't have Aurora. I do send the Hopeful in. I try to cleave because I have no units. This is a horrendous hand against Volibear because against Volibear, you basically want to have only units and then end off the game with Thousand-Tailed Watchers. And because I have all these spells, like they're basically all dead cards in my hand. I draw and I get another Hopeful, which is okay, I guess. My opponent actually decides to play 2 or play the Get Excited, discard a Catalyst. So they had 3 Catalysts in hand. And I assume they do this because they don't have Aurora to play next turn. So they are just making sure that I cannot get points. And then, of course, I play the Kaisa and the Hopeful in base to go as wide as possible. And then what even happens on my opponent's turn? Oh, I actually do get the... Okay, so yeah, I get this. I play the Kaisa. My opponent plays a Bugle Call, Immobilize, and do they get anything? They just pass. So they don't have Aurora, which is pretty bad. I can now go to 3 points. So I would send in... The downside is I don't have any good like draws, I guess. I feel like sending Hopeful here is a mistake. I should be sending Kaisa to the left to get, in case I draw into a retreat. And so I send the Hopeful to the right. And wait, am I down a point? Oh, it's because they get excited in me. So they actually denied me points up until now. And then I send Kaisa. I don't send Kaisa? What? This is not right. This is not right. Oh, no. Do I send Darius because I think I can smoke screens a Dead Bloom? But coming down, is that why? I feel like I need the draw here. Like I feel like the play is I send Kaisa in, play Darius in base, and then get the draw, keep 2 up for smokescreen for Dead Bloom. And then they do finally top deck the Aurora on their turn. And what do they get? They got a Brazen Buccaneer, which is frankly terrible because apparently they only have one of those guys and nothing else. So I just send my guys back. I go to 5. I'm actually in a pretty good spot right now because now I've gone pretty wide and I've built up a big base that I can come down with the Watcher soon enough. And then I do clear out their Brazen Buccaneer with a Falling Star, which honestly, I think this is a mistake because if they're forced to send the Brazen Buccaneer to defend, I don't need the falling star to go over it. I could just send in like a Darius with +2, and later on I could just combo Watcher falling star to basically deal 3 damage. Yeah, I think that was probably one of the bigger misplays here. My opponent plays a Catagrin, and now they just draw and they play a Ballista. I remember running Ballista back in my first volley list. I have long cut it, but I think it has its uses. And then they start flipping. They flip into another Catagrin, and I see some Incinerates. I also used to run Incinerate, and now I do run them again because it's quite good. And now back to my turn. This theoretically should be an easy turn because I can go in and out with Darius. And but the issue is I go to 7. Can I even go in and out? I guess I can rain and smokescreen. So I play the smokescreen, and then what do I do? Play the smokescreen, falling star to kill a Catagrin, and I pull the Darius back. I think that was also a misplay. I think what I needed here was I needed to Acathian Rain. Yeah, I don't know. After all these practice matches against himself, I don't learn. Because right now, it's better to save the falling star and the smokes. I mean, I probably need to use one of the falling stars or the smoke screens. I probably save the falling star to combo with Watcher. So I think this turn it should be Rain plus smoke screen. Because Rain kills. The issue is Rain plus smoke screen doesn't really kill. I mean, I can Rain and no, I can't Rain smoke screen and falling star. I think I could just Rain and falling star perhaps. Rain kills one, does 2 damage to the other one. No, I think the math doesn't work out. But the issue is I want to go in and out with Darius. So I feel like Smoking Falling Star, I guess it's okay. I go in and out with Darius. I go to 7. Next turn I can go for a big push. They send the Catagrin in. They pull the second Aurora. And yeah, they send, and then they drop another Catagrin here. And then they flip Dead Bloom. Okay. This is fine because they have 3 up, so they can get excited, one of my dudes. And then that is not great. I mean, the other option is I could just stack on the left, but it does put me at risk of a Stormbringer. I do not want to risk that. I feel like that might have been worth risking. Anyway, so I play the Watcher. Everything gets -6. And now I have to... The issue here is I cannot trigger my Darius. So I'm down 4 might. And then I'm trying to figure out the math here. I send Darius in, try to trade with the Dead Bloom. We trade. I send everything. Okay. I send everything. I think I'm playing around Sky Splitter here. But funny enough, my opponent doesn't even have Sky Splitter. They have like 1 copy in their deck. And I actually now run 1 copy now after asking them about it. Because Sky Splitter is kind of a dead card early. So they hit my Kaisa with a Void Seeker. And then they clear off the other 2. And this just leaves my Hopeful in base. And on their turn, they sabotage me. They get rid of one of my Rains. And then they drop down another Dead Bloom. Which I think at this point, I am out of steam. So I just lose this game. We scoop it up. We go next. So yeah, we made some weird mistakes over there. I think it was like with the sending... Darius should never be sent to a battlefield. It should always be played in base against an Aurora comp, just so you can go in and out. And then I think I had that poorly optimized turn where I needed to set up my next turn for a Watcher Falling Star. And yeah, so that was not played very well. Not very well at all. And then here we go to, I think I go Reavers. I should have pulled out Arena's Greatest. The reason I pulled out Reavers is because I was thinking, okay, I need a win too, so I might as well save Arenas for last. But I don't know. I probably should have pulled out Arenas. My opponent pulls out the Obelisk because I think that's their battlefield they used when they think they're going to lose anyway, just to get it out. And then I throw in some Sprite Mothers. I think I have, what do we have here? We have Poro. We have got a lot of units, which is great. And so I go first. I put in the Poro. That's it. My opponent. Did they do anything turn one? Oh, they go to 4 because of Obelisk. They play Catalyst. And now they're at they're at 6. They can play Deadbloom next turn, which is pretty scary. Send Poro over there. I accelerate Kaisa to the left. No punish. But next turn they do play a Void Seeker. Killed my Kaisa. They play another Catalyst. So they're ramping up like crazy. They only have 3 cards though. And then they play a Sabotage to see what cards they want to remove in my hand. They can literally only remove Rain, so Rain gets removed. And then we send it back to me. I'm at 3, and their Aurora is not out yet, which is fine. I feel like this turn I probably just play the Sprite Mother and a Hopeful. And then we go to 4 points, which is fine, which is good. They finally eke out the Aurora. They get the orange Volibear, which is very, very scary. If I had the Rain here, I would be in a good spot. I do not have the Rain, which is pretty bad. I do have the Time Warp, but because I used up so many runes, I'm actually in a pretty bad spot. I think if I didn't accelerate the Kaisa and I didn't play the Sprite Mother, I would be at how much? I would be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'd be at 9. So I can try to force a Time Warp next turn. But yeah, I think yeah, because I burned so many runes. I mean, I think the Sprite Mother was fine. Accelerating the Kaisa is a little suspicious. But I mean, it was fine because my opponent was tapped out, so I didn't get punished by Void Seeker there. And then we send the Poro in to go to 5. We send a Hopeful in to go to 6. This is fine. Or nah, we send the Sprite Mother because it's a bit smaller. So if it gets killed by a spell, it's not as big of a deal. And then now we can Time Warp in 2 turns, which is not great. If I could Time Warp next turn, that would be amazing. And then we just play the Darius and the Hopeful go wide. My opponent goes in with Volley to the right. They trigger. They don't trigger Aurora. They just play a Category down. And then Aurora flips another orange Volibear. So this is pretty bad because now that orange Volibear, if it gets into Reavers, I'm royally screwed. I think, and then if I send everything to Reavers to try to hold, then I'm punished by Stormbringer. I think I have to just stack on the left now. Because if that orange volley gets in, I don't know if I could deal with it. Unless I draw into a Watcher. I think that's the only way. And then so, what do we do here? We're at 7. I can't warp. I'm like organizing my units for some reason. And why am I falling starting here? Huh? What are we doing? What are we doing? Oh, I'm trying to go to 8. So we falling star, we hit the orange Volibear twice. We play a Darius. We have a lot of might. We have 14 plus 8, which is 14 plus 8 is 22. And then we did hit the volley with the falling star there. So it only has 7 health left, 7 and 9. I also have the cleave. So I send everything. Oh no. It's not right. You don't need to send everything because the goal here is we need to kill the orange Volibear without losing the battlefield. Or without losing the combat, or else it will heal the full. So I think the play is my opponent has 2 up, so they probably have 1 Get Excited and maybe a Sky Splitter. So I think all I need to do, because orange Volibear has 7 health, I just have to send in 2 Dariuses. If I send in 2 Dariuses, 1 dies to Get Excited, and the other one dies to... It doesn't die to Sky Splitter, unless they have 2 Sky Splitters, which is unlikely. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, no. This was a major misplay. I just need to send 2 Dariuses. I do get the get excited, and that does kill one of my Darius. And then now the Volibear like will trade with my Darius, but and then I cleave. Oh, no, 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 no. That's not right. I lost. I lost here. I had lethal, I'm pretty sure. Because, yeah, I send in the two Dariuses. One will trade with the Volibear. The other one, if it lives, I can cleave it to go over. And, I mean, it's not going to live. I mean, I just cleave it to trade with the Catagon. And then I send in the two hopefuls. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, that's horrendous. We lost this. That was pretty bad. That was pretty bad, not gonna lie. So yeah, let's move on to the last one. This is the last game for this evening, and we are playing a Kaisa Mirror against. Actually, I think my opponent got down paired, and this is actually the player that won the tournament that night. So this is gonna be a pretty good Kaisa Mirror. Despite me losing that volley matchup in a way that I shouldn't have. But yeah, so I think I start off. I have student, hopeful, watcher, and falling star, and I don't even think I'm mulligan. And I think the reason is I'm going second, and I pretty much have all the pieces I want in this game. I have the watcher to fight for the late game. I have the student for the early game, and hopeful falling star for a turn 2 play. So pretty cookie cutter start. We start with the student. My opponent plays a Yordle. Unfortunately, I'm actually debating here because technically speaking, if I play the falling star on the Yordle and play the hopeful, that's actually a pretty good trade. Or trade for tempo. Like obviously, falling starring at Yordle feels kind of bad, but I don't know. Do I greet it here? I don't. I think I kind of greet it because I send this student to the streaming tree and I play the hopeful in base. I don't think that's correct because I feel like I think the correct play is falling star their Yordle and then play the just get the falling star out because I'm really ahead in tempo if I do that. Um, But yeah, my opponent plays their own falling star, and Stupefy clears my units. And then now they send their Yordle in. I guess because I save the falling star, I get a good trade here. So I guess, yeah, maybe the hopeful, but I don't know. I feel like sometimes it's right to falling star a 2-drop, but in this case, I kind of got rewarded by not doing so because now I have a great falling star. So I think on my turn, I just play a Yordle. I play the falling star. I clear my opponent out. And we're back to a semi-neutral state. We're both at 1 point. My opponent accelerates a Kaisa out to Dreaming Tree, leaving 1 up. So obviously they have the retreat in hand. And on my turn, I just send my Yordle with a cleave because I would like to cycle out this cleave, force the retreat out. My opponent, yep, they do exactly as I expect. They play the retreat. And at this point, I don't really have any good units. I don't want to play out my Kaisa because it doesn't have a retreat and it can just get falling starred. So I just play the Yordle and I draw into another Yordle. And I feel like, I mean, one option here is I could just play my Yordle, but because I hold 3 up, I can actually defend my spot on the right with a smokescreen and hex ray. So that's interesting. I think my opponent clears me with their own hex ray and they play the Mega Mech, which is rather hard to deal with, especially because I basically need a rain to clear it. The smokescreen will help. So I need the Mega Mech on a battlefield if I want to really get rid of it. So we accelerate my own Kaisa out because I have the retreat. I don't know if this is correct. Maybe I should be playing the Yordle first. Because just to see an option before having to send in the Kaisa. And then I'm down to sack the Yordle here, go to 4, just to get on, because now I'm ahead in point tempo. And then I play the Sentry in base. Is it Sentry in base, or I feel like it's another Yordle? I think the reason I play the Sentry is because if my opponent Cathian reigns, I'd rather lose the Sentry than a Yordle because it's 1 might. But it's not really a good position to rain because I'd probably retreat anyway. So they send the Mega Mech to the left. That's fine. I just retreat it. It goes to hand. I draw and I channel. And now it's vulnerable to a Watcher. And then now they go to the other side with a Kaisa, which is perfect for me because I can just Hex-Ray it. I believe they do cleave up the Kaisa. So it does clear my Yordle. We do trade Cleave for Hex-Ray, which is a little better than for my opponent because they get to cycle it. We're back to me. I have a lot of runes. Pretty sure I Watcher here because I want to clear the Mega Mech. I send the Watcher in. If my opponent has anything, I have the Cleave, so it's not a bad issue. It's not a problem. They do send out the retreat on the Mega Mech, which is annoying because now I have to clear it again when it comes back in. I do cleave into the Sentry and to the Kaisa. So forcing out a Hextech Ray, and we do we trade here? Yeah, I think we why do we not trade? So I go in with the Cleave, my opponent Hextech Rays me. And then I'm pretty sure we trade. Why is my Sentry still alive? Oh. I see. Wait, what? Go in. Why is that 5? It goes to 4. My opponent plays what? It goes to 4. Hextech Ray should kill my guy, right? Why did I go to 6? Hello, Judge? Okay, I don't know why, but I went to 6. That doesn't make any sense. But my opponent plays their Watcher. They come in. They cleave up their Sentry. They go to 5. And then they play another Sentry. I think at this point, the only thing I should do is play Rain and then a small unit and try to go in for a push next turn. So I think that's what I do, right? Yeah, Rain clears everything. I don't think they retreat anything. And then I play Kaisa? Is that correct? No, I don't. Why would I play Kaisa here? I get it's 4 runes, but and I need the Kaisa for an accelerate play with Darius later if I need it. This is a misplay. Like I should be playing like I should either play the student or the sentry. A student or the Yordle. Probably the Yordle, I think. Yeah, why do I play Kaisa? Okay, this is oh and then it just get falling starred. This is horrible. Because like if I play the Yordle, my opponent has to falling star the Yordle. Yikes. I played the Kaisa. That is a mistake. You do not play Kaisa there. You do not play Kaisa there. And yeah, they send in the Darius, which is accelerated. Now I'm forced to play my Yordle, send in my Darius accelerated to go over their Darius. And they do they play anything? They don't. I go to 7. I still can't win. Yeah, if I didn't play the Kaisa here, I think I might have it. Because like I could just play. Yeah. If I didn't play the Kaisa, and let's say my opponent got rid of my Yordle with the Falling Star, they probably would because I'm threatening to go to 8. They would potentially go in with Darius or just play it in base. And then this turn, I could just accelerate Kaisa and Darius. And then even have a Stupefy up. Like, I should have won this turn if I didn't misplay. And yeah, so I go in, I get rained, I draw, and then my opponent plays a Poro. I tap 2 runes. Do I tap 2 runes? I play my Darius. I play a Falling Star. I don't think it's play Darius here. I mean, I play the Darius because I think my opponent has no... They just rained. Why do I go in? Why am I going in? That is not correct. And then I go in, and now my opponent just trades it with a Watcher. And I try to save my Darius with... Or I try to trade at least. We trade. That's fine. I go here. And then I Watcher. And I win. Is that what happens? Okay. So I get game 1. I'm pretty sure we accidentally cheated there. I don't think it mattered too much because I needed to get 2 points in 1 turn anyway. But I mean, it could have mattered with the extra draw. I think I did have everything I needed to win though. So yeah, we got that, but I'm pretty sure I misplayed. I also cheated a bit. Whoops, sorry. Doesn't matter because I lost this best of three. And then yeah, let's see what happens. I think I'm going. I know I'm going second, so I side in my hex, my Void Seekers, and then we have Reaver's Row and Grove, and I have Double Watcher, which is not particularly good on Reavers, but I kind of need them eventually for the late game. So this is really hard. I think I get rid of one Watcher. Ooh, ooh. I feel like the mulligan choice was a little suspicious here. I feel like getting rid of the sentry is not even that bad. Like, even if I pass turn 2, is it really that bad? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Okay, I got rid of one watcher, and then we'll see how this plays out. I luck into a 2-drop, so maybe it was just get rid of the sentry if I had the foresight, you know. And then we play the student. Unfortunately, no hex ray. Very unfortunate. But my opponent plays the Poro, which is great because now I can't falling star it. They send the Poro in. They play Kaisa. Ooh, big mistake. Big mistake. I don't think. Yeah, and now I can. I actually got both with the falling star and Stupefy. So I send the student in. I falling star. Wait. Why don't? Why don't I falling star Stupefy? Because I would, if I falling star Stupefy, I burn 2 because I have to hit the Poro with deflect, and I go to 5 next turn. Obviously, like 5 next turn is not great. I do want 6 so I can accelerate Darius. But my opponent would be so behind in tempo, and I'd gain it back. Yeah, that's all right. Because I could falling star, Stupefy, and play my sentry. Okay, I think we know what went wrong this game. So we killed the Kaisa. My opponent saw his Poro, which is not great. And now I'm forced to retreat. My opponent goes to 2. Yeah, they would be in a pickle if I falling starred both their units. And now I get falling starred. I lose my units. And yeah, I guess if I falling starred them earlier, they would be at 1 point. They would have hopeful and student, and I would have, I guess, I would be at 6. I could play just Darius maybe, and I mean I accelerate a Kaisa in. Is this even correct? I feel like this is not correct. I can't even defend this Kaisa. I mean, I think losing the Kaisa is better than losing Darius. I do send it in. I get drawn into a student. But yeah, this is questionable. They send in the hopeful. Do I decide to stay? I decide to back out. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could stay and try to stupefy, but they do have a lot of runes up, which is a little greedy. I feel like I should have spent more time trying to think about what they have in their hand. They send the sentry to God Willow, obviously to sack it, play Darius in base. They know I don't have the falling star, so they can play their Darius safely. The good thing about retreating my Kaisa is that I can get another Conquer potentially. But because they have units on both sides, they could Hextech Ray me. I think that's the main thing. Or Stupefy. I think the safest play here is send it back to Reavers, right? Ooh, this is risky. Because if I send it to Reavers, it forces my opponent to move out, and then my Kaisa is also safe in Reavers. And if they decide to stay, we could trade potentially. If I send it to the right side, if I could have gotten punished by a Hextech Ray here. I didn't, but I could have gotten punished. And then I do draw into a lucky rain. And then I do try to rain my opponent's board. Do they retreat? Yeah, they do retreat the Darius, which is very fair. And I don't even kill the Poro. Why am I not killing the Poro here? Like, obviously I get it. I'm saving up for whatever. I'm saving up for Time Warp. Because I know I have Time Warp here, but I feel like I should kill the Poro. Ugh. Because I would go down to 4, and I go to 6, which I have Student and Nox is Hopeful next turn, or Darius with Stupefy. Yeah, no, this is so many misplays already. Yeah, I needed to kill this Poro like either earlier or now. And then all my opponent does is I'm tapped out. They send in Darius. They're sending the Poro. Yeah, this Poro is a problem because if I got rid of the Poro, they would not be at 6 points. They would be either at 5, um, or 4 because the Poro basically got him 2 points this game. And then I draw into a Yordle. Now I'm in a tough spot because now they're at 6. They can push with Watcher next turn. Yeah, yeah. Who knew? Who knew? I feel like I had a game like this before where I just didn't kill a Pouty Poro when I needed to, and it just got so many points. So yeah, I mean, there's really not much. This game is basically over. I send in my Darius, and I get stupefied and cleaved, and my Darius goes. Their Darius goes to 7, and yeah, this game is over. We scoop it up. We go next. And then this time I am going first. Lucky me. I get Arena's Greatest. I love Arena's Greatest. I start off with Watcher, Darius, Hopeful, and Retreat. And obviously, Watcher is great because we're going first. Darius is okay. I think the play here is get rid of Darius and Retreat, maybe. Mainly because Hopeful is such a solid unit in the Kaisa mirror. And Darius, I feel like whoever plays Darius first will lose. Retreat is also good, but I think we really need that 2-drop. So we get rid of the Darius Retreat. Okay, fair enough. I draw into a Watcher and a Stupefy, which is, I draw into another Watcher. Triple Watcher start on Arena's Greatest. Not looking good. So I pass. My opponent plays a Student, holding one up. I play my Hopeful because I don't want to play my Kaisa. And then my opponent plays their Kaisa, and they don't go in with Student. Very smart, because I would just get a free trade. So I know they have no way to defend their Student here. And what do I even do here? Like, I could go in. I mean, going in is not the worst here because they would have to spend some, at least some thing to go over mine. And I feel like it's just maybe go in, get that second point, play the Yordle, or play the Yordle first. I draw into a Retreat, and then I guess I go in. That's fine, and I leave 3 up. I go into Targon, what is it? Start at peak. So now I force my opponent to have to come. They hit me with a Falling Star, Stupefy. Ouch, that is a bad one. And I think what is it? Retreat it. And technically speaking, they could have done the Stupefy play. They could have Falling Star both, send in the Student, and then see if I retreat. Try to see if I want to trade there. But I guess I would probably trade. So I guess it makes sense for them to Stupefy here. I do retreat. There you go. Their Casa goes in to go to 2. They leave their Student back. Okay, no, they send their Student in. Fair enough. And they have 1 rune up. Now, I am in a pickle because I am behind on tempo when I should be ahead. And so I play the Sprite Mother. I send the Sprite over there. Try to get a free trade. It gets Hextech Raid. Very smart, because now I have to go into Star Tipped with an Accelerate unit. So I send... Ooh, this is bad because I don't even have a retreat for my Kaisa. So I'm forced the Kaisa into the right side so my opponent doesn't get the channel. I draw into a Rain, which is pretty good. Pretty good. And I mean, my Kai'Sa's probably going to die here. My opponent did do the Falling Star, so the chance is low. But obviously, they got Darius. Recruit Darius, Hopeful, goes in, kills my Kaisa. They go to 5. And I have 2 Rains. And right now, if I Rain, I can't even kill their whole board. Because I can kill... I can do 10 and try to trade on the Darius. So I think that's what I do. I kill their backline and I trade into the Darius and I play my Hopeful. So this is the best way I can reset and try to regain tempo. And then at this point, my opponent plays their Darius. Poro, they go to 6. Dangerous number. Now they can threaten with a Watcher next turn. And I mean, at this point, it's tricky, right? Because I need to clear the board or I lose to Watcher next turn. Raining on Darius and Poro is kind of bad, especially if they have a retreat. And I think I do take the risk. The other option is I go in with my Watcher and clear their Darius. Try to can't even stack one side. I mean, I'll put Watcher and the Noxus on one side and then try to fend off with a Stupefy next turn. Because my opponent goes to they go to 9, so they could also play Watcher Accelerated plus one spell. But yeah, we do Rain. My opponent retreats. I got super punished. I think the Watcher play might have been a little bit better, just because I have so many Watchers in hand. So we Rain. My opponent gets their Darius out, and I am in a pickle. I can't go in because their Darius is gonna come right back. They play the Mega Mech, and now I don't have the Rain to deal with the Mega Mech. And now the issue is Mega Mech comes in with Watcher, and I am screwed. Or Mega Mech with Darius next turn. So, yeah, Mega Mech comes down. They hit my Hopeful with a Falling Star. Probably, I mean, yeah, I could have just gone in and gotten the point at least, but it is what it is. We have Sentry, the only just Sentry. So I think I Stupefy the Mega Mech. Try to dig for something. I play Yordle. Didn't really. I get a Time Warp. I send Sentry into 4. And yeah, now if my opponent has Accelerate, they just like, yeah, I got nothing. Like Mega Mech comes in, they Darius, and they got it. So, yep. Oh man. Yeah, I feel like just since this game, I did play a lot of Kaisa games at like in-person events, and I am noticing a lot of mistakes with my gameplay. Hopefully, I can have them stick in my head. I'm gonna try writing these down. I'm gonna create like a free Metafy guide of some sort where I'll jot down all my notes, all the matchups, all the key things to remember, and that will be a free guide for anyone who is interested. Obviously, if you're like a professional player, it won't help you as much because it's probably more geared towards the casually competitive kind of crowd. But yep, that was a long set of VODs to review. Let me know if you have any comments in the comments below. And if you want to see more of this kind of stuff, just let me know. Hit the subscribe button and whatnot. And yeah, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you for watching.